It's throwing up on you. Hey, what's that? It was so happy to come out.
A little Guinness in the morning, being a little Irish today. Real nice and creamy off the rip.
Ooh, I wonder if I use
So these are, here, before we talk about it, open before smoking. Oh, sorry. What's going on, everybody? We're back to our roots today. We've got one microphone between the two of us, one camera, no lights, no nothing, just kind of the boys, you know? You know?
Who are you?
You know? You know? Good old Steve Janchise. What's up, buddy? What's up, Sigaro Cigar Lounge, our beautiful, beautiful sponsors. As we sit at the table of another one of our sponsors, Billy G's. It's been 2 years with Billy G's, dude.
Uh-huh. Cranking her out.
Crank her out, baby.
Love it.
You gotta lean in more if you want to talk.
I'm talking loud.
I'm talking loud now. All right, so we've got this beautiful. This looks like a morning cigar. I mean, look at it.
Just take a look at it.
Ignore my pudgy hands, but look at it. Just
Yeah, look at those sausage fingers.
they are not much different than what I'm holding. Cigar fingers.
He's got a hoof on each finger.
So this is Ecuadorian Connecticut deflorado, which means deflowered, a leaf from which flower buds are removed so nutrients concentrate more in the leaves. This is not a different version of the deflorado you smoked last month. Oh, okay, good. It's got an Ecuadorian Habano binder, Nicaraguan fillers. Let's see. Should get dry hay, earth, cedar, some tea leaves, barnyard, cocoa nibs, sweetbread, nutmeg. All right. Dominant flavors are toasted bread, sourdough, light espresso, which is perfect because we're having coffee. And then baking spices and nutmeg, which should go well with the Guinness we're having here. All right. Hot dang. Chocolate. And then the hints are back at it again. Let's go. The cigar made its debut in 2024. It's manufactured by Fábrica Oveja Negra in Esteli, Nicaragua. James Brown serves as the master blender. And Oveja Negra means black sheep. Well, this is a Black Label Trading Company cigar. I don't know which one. But it's just super light. Talking about roots today. How it all started, how it all began. Here, scooch this way a little bit, Dave.
Is my fat ass not in screen?
I think we're good.
Who the hell is that on the screen?
Oh. So what are your first impressions?
Of this episode or
Of
the cigar? Episode could be a little better. These dumbasses won't talk about anything other than the cigar. I think it's good. Honestly, I'm getting a little bit more spice on my end.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, there's some spice to it. A little bit.
My sinuses are also acting up, so I'm not going to be able to
Great.
taste.
Throw the cigars away. We don't know what we're doing.
Run it back. D and cheese, if we can get another set of cigars next month.
Just please don't drop us.
But it's very light, very easy to smoke.
Very easy. good with this coffee and Guinness.
I get a little bit of the espresso for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I think this honestly pairs really well with the Guinness and with the coffee.
Keep talking.
I kind of lit it like a dumbass, though. So, I will not say that it's not, it's not, badly crafted at all, because that's user error. That's not...
No, it's not. It's decent burn for me, too.
It's got a nice white ash, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been humidified and aged
Fat
well.
white ash. Hey.
Nice!
Oh. It is 8:15, almost 8:30. Just kind of chilling, doing our thing.
So why did you want to talk about roots?
I don't know.
Do you like plants?
I was packing up this morning, getting ready to leave the house with all the equipment and stuff, and I thought about bringing our lights and like all the just everything. I was like, you know what? Now I did make a mistake and only bring one mic cord, so
That's why we're sharing the mic.
we're getting real close. Actually, it's on well, so we can just talk. Like, just lean in if you want to talk. But
It'll be like Lady and the Tramp, except it's a mic instead of a pasta noodle.
I don't know. I was thinking about just where we all began, and there's a leaf blower over there. That's fun. Just where it all began. Like, we talked a little bit on the last episode about, literally the location where we filmed last week's episode was where the idea for the podcast started. And you good?
Did you switch the mugs?
No.
No. So this is yours.
Yeah, I just figured. Oh well.
All right. Well,
I took
ain't
one sip. I
I'm
don't care.
still not trying to lip lock with you.
Well, that's fair.
As sexy as you may be,
There's grassroots. That's what it
golly,
sounded like when
yeah.
I used to smoke cigars.
throw up.
But man, we started, 2 years ago, and with you remember the Blue Yeti mics, the white balls that we got from Walmart,
Nice.
and then used our phones because I got a brand new phone back then.
We both did.
Yeah, we got brand new iPhone 14 Pro Maxes, and we were like, oh man, that's cinematic mode. We should just film it on the
On our phones.
On our
It'll
phones
cost way
and-
less than a camera. And it did. And I think for the first year and a half, 2 years, it worked really well.
Yeah, I think so.
But
It was for the first year and a half, yeah. Yeah, because we upgraded to this camera. And we always had these mics, though. Like, that was something that we, as a group, decided that this was important. Like, the audio was the most important, which is hilarious because I forgot a mic today, but or forgot a cord for a mic, but I don't know. It got me thinking. Like, I went to a concert with my family last night, and just got a really a sense of legacy and a sense of because there was 3 generations in one room in
Right.
one concert. And I know that sounds like a lot, but my parents are very young, so but I just got to thinking about, there's a song by Zach Brown Band called Roots. And one of the lines of the song is, my roots always keep me grounded. My roots remind me where I'm from. And, my love of music and my love of concert going and just family time comes from my parents and my family and the legacy that they left and their roots and how, they both grew up very family-oriented people and very roots-friendly people. And so I was just thinking, what's the story that got us all here, you know? What's the... Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I mean, we've talked about it. I think we've had probably a couple episodes throughout the past 2 years that we've kind of talked at least a little bit about our roots, you know, whether it be our grassroots or the rooting into the whiskey world, and our love for whiskey, the rooting into our love of cigars. I think we might have had 1 or 2 episodes in like the rooting of our faith.
Yeah.
But I guess compiling all of those together to recognize who we are, where we're at right now, and looking at the things in which have brought us to this point in our lives, this chapter in our lives, which I think is important because, especially when you get wrapped up in the mundane of the chaos in everyday life,
Yeah.
you can kind of lose track on, you know, your progress, you know, where you came from, how far you've made it, and how many crosses you've bore, I guess is the right way to say it. How many crosses you've
Bared.
how many crosses you've made it through to get to this point.
There you go.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Just
Boop. I think it's important because I think we can get wrapped up in, I'm not progressing, and actually this is kind of something that ties off our most previous episode, because we're, from private conversations, we've, you know, talked about how we both feel like we're in an area in which God is calling us to be patient, but to wait. And that's hard, living in a society that, not only in a society, but also having a faith that tells you, you know, faith without works is dead. And obviously, we're not saying you don't enter heaven by your works.
Right.
But, you know, essentially, you know, God is saying you receive based upon the fruits of your labor. And when we go out and we're in a place to where every single time we try to go out and to work, it just seems to be fruitless, but also like there are no new opportunities popping up. There are no new opportunities to progress. There are no, at least in our minds, there's no new opportunities to progress. And so I think part of the waiting is to recognize, you know, number one, who you are. And number two, look how far you've come. Because you can get pretty, not unmotivated. I don't want to use the word motivation, but you can get a little bogged down with, you know, the mental turmoil and thinking, you know, nothing is really working for me. There's no progression, it feels like, when you're in the area of waiting.
Yeah, isn't that such an interesting thing? You know, not interesting. I want to say it bothers me. It's a very bothersome thing for me. Because the way that, I don't know, where my roots come from is hard work gets you what you need. My parents both instilled that in me. But there's a lot of times in life where your hard work doesn't seem like it's paying off. And you're just expected to keep going. You're like, well, I can't shut down. I can't stop.
I've got responsibilities.
And I've got other people who I'm responsible for. That's not proper English, but I have other people for which I am responsible. And I can't stop. But it's...
And so when,
Yeah.
I guess the question is when God asks you to take a second and to stop. That doesn't mean you stop working. That doesn't mean you stop doing your day-to-day stuff, but when it seems like God is asking you to halt what to us feels like is progress,
Yeah.
what do you do in that time in order to at least make it fruitful?
Right.
Now, part of it, to me is really you just have to live your life. You have to do your day-to-day stuff, but you just have to be in the now. Because God is ultimately going to turn it around and make it fruitful. It's not anything we do, it's what He does with it. It's kind of like, the analogy we used at the tail end of our most recent episode. When a car, you shift gears in a manual car, you got to let the foot off the gas in order to put the clutch in.
Yeah.
And so that means, obviously, your car's going to keep rolling.
Right.
But again, your foot's off the gas. But what about in a time in which we feel like we need to shift gears? Because this is where, I guess, more specifically, you and I are. Like, we need to shift gears. But it's almost like right now, God is just calling us to coast.
So shift down. Right? When you coast, you shift down. All right, well, no.
Not necessarily.
Not
You can just
necessarily,
remain
but-
in neutral, but when you're coasting, you're just basically you're going through the motions of the day to day, but you're doing your best with the motions.
Right.
Because no door is open for an opportunity to move forward in our minds, but maybe that's the gear that needs to be shifted. Is maybe we need to think about what are the actual opportunities for progression. Maybe we need to change our thinking on what that actually is, because maybe we're too narrow focused on what progression feels like to us. Maybe it's there are opportunities in our day-to-day life in which we can continue to progress in very small ways.
Yeah.
Maybe God is asking us to shift down. And maybe God's asking you to shift down
There has been
your focus
Yeah.
into the things that are happening currently that you could progress or that you can make better or you could do better.
Right. Son of a bitch, that's hot.
Oh, I heard so the bitch. So I thought you were about to tell a story. I was like, wow, we're getting off the rip.
No, I don't refer to anybody by that name.
Pretty sure our most recent phone call, you might have called me,
Well, that's
That's because you're you, Dan.
we try to end on the most vulgar note and then just hang up.
Or a lot of times I just kind of just make a random noise just to leave you with, to make you question whether or not I'm actually all mentally there. No.
The answer is no, I'm not.
Talk about grassroots. My root system doesn't go too deep.
Well, that was my next thought, is how much of how you were raised do you actually apply in your life? And that sounds like a ridiculous question, because like we all carry it with us subconsciously, but like I didn't realize until the last couple of years how much I emulate my father, and how much I spent so much of my teenage years and young adult years just trying to eradicate the idea that I would end up like him. But there's nothing like, it's not like he's a bad guy. He's just very I always used to think that my father's militant. Like, I always, like, oh, he was a Marine, so he's just doing this because that's all he knows. Because when he was in high school, he went straight to the Marines, and he doesn't know compassion, and he doesn't know grace. I always used to think that way until I find myself, like the other day, so my son's room is in our basement. It's not a cellar, it's nice.
More of a dungeon.
But my son's room is in our basement, but he doesn't like lights off. He doesn't like any darkness. And so he'll go turn on all the lights down there. And there's the laundry room and the bathroom and his room, and then the room that's off the shoot of his, like the little office area. Or not office area. It was. Now it's my daughter's room, and but he turns all of them on. And the other day, I was downstairs in the garage getting something, and I came back into the house, and I literally was like, I'm going to start making you pay for this. Like, every time you leave a light on, I'm going to start charging you like $5. Every time you leave all the lights on. And my wife was like, really? Really? And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. Like, I emulated my father. Because my dad would do that all the time. He'd walk around the house and be like, why the hell are all the lights on? We don't need all this. Or like when we're getting ready to go somewhere, like I used to be very lackadaisical when it came to time management. But now, like, I cannot be late to things. And that's something that I learned from my father. Where it's like, come on, guys, like, we started getting ready 45 minutes ago. We should be able to make it to church on time. Like,
I think that's every father. Because my dad still has an aneurysm whenever we're like... he paces the house. I mean, that is one quirk that...
yeah, I do that now too. My dad does that, yeah.
Being late to something drives my dad up a wall.
Yeah.
I'll just hear him, like, whispering things to himself, like...
Just like a metalcore song.
Just mentally and emotionally deteriorating at a high rate. But
what was he like growing up?
what was my dad?
Yeah.
He was a hothead. There were numerous...
Mike Keithley, I love you to the moon and back, dude. You're one of the coolest dudes.
Dude, he was... There were numerous times to where, like, growing up at my grade school...
Good God, could you screech any louder, you stupid train?
You think it heard you?
Probably, actually. It got quiet.
Yeah, there were numerous times to where, like, my dad would go up to school. Now, granted, he was, I think at one point, chairman of the board.
Yeah.
For my grade school. Or he was just on the board.
Yeah. Chairman sounds better.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's right.
Yeah, well, sounds better.
But, so, there was a couple times to where after school, the teachers were kind of getting everything all ready for the next day and kind of grading papers. And my dad would walk into their room if, like, meaning the Keithley teachers for the kids, and his kids had an issue.
Yeah.
He'd walk into the room and talk to the teachers. Except there were very few times in which it was a talk.
Oh.
There was, I mean, on a couple occasions, made the teacher apologize.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, went in. There was one time in particular in which it was one of the teachers had an issue with one of my older brothers. And my dad called her specifically because he was just getting off work. And he goes, "Hey, the hell's going on?" And the teacher was like, "Well, your son's not turning in stuff and is not finishing stuff." And he goes, "That's bullshit. I'm coming up there right now." And she goes, "No." And the teacher goes, "No, that's not necessary. We'll get it taken care of."
No, I have something in the same vein. So my mom has been a middle school teacher for 30 plus years, and And there were multiple times when, so like I went to the same school district that she taught in, and so all the teachers had the same email like kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was extremely forgetful as a kid, but still am.
Yeah.
That's like an ADHD super trait number one, is I can remember random trivia, but I can't remember to bring a pencil or,
That's what dates and numbers. I can always.
Yeah.
What do the numbers mean?
But my teachers would like email my mom and be like, he forgot his pencil. What do I do? And my mom was like, get him a fucking pencil. Like, what?
What are you talking about?
He forgot his folder again. Okay. But
What?
did he have stuff in it that was needed? Well, no, it's his take-home folder. Then give him the stuff to take home.
What were you going to have him do? Write his assignments and poop in his finger?
I had one teacher. Oh, man. He was. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to call him out. His name is Mr. Washington. And I think he still teaches there at this middle school. And this kid was talking behind me, so I didn't. So, like, we were taking a test. And he was adding 2 questions to the test that he'd forgotten to write on it. And so he's had us, like, write the questions down, right? And I didn't hear him because these kids were, like, bugging me from behind. And so I go, can you repeat the questions? I didn't hear him. And he looked me straight in the eye and he goes, nope. Oh, well. And I got up and left class. And he was like, if you leave, I'll send you to the office. I go, where do you think I'm going right now?
Good, we're on the same page.
We're on the same page, dude.
Go see O'Shag Hennessy.
Dude, but I had teachers. Yeah, I was, like, I wasn't the best student, and I wasn't the least problematic, but I don't feel like I deserved the treatment that I got, which is why I switched schools. But that's a whole other thing. My dad was just always one thing that and I talked about this in the last episode, but one of the things that bugs me as a person with ADHD is someone who says, why can't you just do it? And and I've talked about this many times, but there's something called executive dysfunction where your brain and your body don't match up. And so they're like, why can't you just remember this? Why can't you just write this down? Because my brain doesn't think to do that. And so my dad and I's arguments were always, why can't you just? But my dad was also the coach of my soccer team, and or became a coach of my soccer team.
Why can't you just kick the ball?
He was no, he was always like, that was something that we always got along when it came to was soccer, because I was goalie, because I was big, I was lanky, I had long arms, and I was fast, and so, our middle school team were champions of our district or whatever. I mean, I don't know how it works in Little League or whatever it's called for soccer, but I remember one night my coach at the time like called me out because it was like the beginning of the season and there were a bunch of new players, and they were like, and he pointed over to me and he was like, Adam is the fastest defenseman in this entire league. That's right, because I wasn't always a goalie. I was a defenseman too because I was fast. And he was like, Adam is the fastest defenseman in this league. I encourage you to try to find somebody who's faster than he is. And after we had an all-night practice, and it was probably 9:30, which, when you're in 7th grade, it's late, like, and you've been playing soccer all night. And my dad was like, all right, that was awesome. That was awesome. That's so cool that he said that. Let's go for a run. And I was like, what? And I didn't know at the time that my dad was like showing me off. Like, we went for a run after practice. Like, we ran around the field again after we just finished doing all that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's moments like that where, like, there's so many things as an adult and as a person who now has children that I understand more, that my dad was just, like, showing me off.
Yeah.
And he was so proud. Like, so I used to be in a band. My dad's not an emotional guy. Well, he is. He's not an outwardly emotional guy. And I remember, so I used to play in a band, and we would like tour, quote unquote, around like bars in St. Louis, and we'd play every weekend. But our first show ever was at the Schlafly Tap Room, and I was lead guitarist, and I remember getting off stage, and he wouldn't let me go. Like my dad, like wrapped me in a hug and like wouldn't let go. It was like crying in my shoulder, not sobbing, but he was.
There goes my hero.
But he was so proud.
I could see Chris doing that.
Yeah. But he
Sobbing. Just glazing his face.
But he was so proud. And it was... And the thing... And this is a little personal, but the crazier thing about it is he's not my father. He's my dad. He's not the one that helped make me. That guy lives in Alabama and has a whole other family. Because he couldn't cut it. It's just made his decisions. But, like, my dad came around when I was like 2.5. And my parents got married. And it was something... There's a song by Brad Paisley called He Didn't Have to Be. And it came out in like 98, something like that. Maybe early 2000, maybe like between 98 and 2000 or something. But I remember listening to that song because it's all about a guy, like a kid, from the kid's perspective. This guy who comes into his life, who marries his mom, and the chorus of the song is, or the crux of the song is like, he chose to be everything for us, and he didn't have to be. And that was something that my dad has always been. He does things that he doesn't have to, but he knows he should or he wants to. He's the greatest grandpa. No offense to my wife's father, because he's also a wonderful, wonderful grandfather. But like I remember when I made him a grandpa at like 42. And I remember him coming into the hospital and like getting a name tag on, and he looked straight at me and he like wrapped me in a hug and he goes, "I can't believe you fucking made me a grandpa at 42. I was like, "Sorry, Pop."
But you're also welcome.
But you're also welcome, because they're adorable. And now they're 10, and I'm fucking old. All right, we're about a third way through the cigar.
You are.
Oh, no. Don't.
It went out.
I talked too long. Talk about it. Heavy on the bread.
I'm definitely about more halfway through the cigar now. It definitely transitioned from like a light to a medium, like a good amount of espresso with a little bit of, I would almost say, cinnamon and baking spices into a heavy like bread.
Yeah. Like a heavy sourdough.
I got a rich, buttery sourdough.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still probably at that point.
This is a wonderful morning cigar. This is the perfect time to smoke this. If you take a drag and then take a sip of coffee, the espresso really pops out. I'm getting
What?
Like cinnamon, but not cinnamon sugar.
It's never been a sweet.
Yeah, it's not a sweet cinnamon. It's just like cinnamon and definitely nutmeg in there.
I think the sweetness for me comes from like a butter, like a buttery.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a.
I don't know what that kid said, but it sounded like he said
firebomb.
Oh
No,
no, firehouse, because there's a
Yeah.
But this little kid just ran by and goes, "Firehouse!" Way to go, kid!
Go get him.
Get him, buddy.
Watch for the trucks running in and out. Yeah, I think it's stories like that. Like I was more of a baseball than a soccer because when I played soccer,
Well, I played baseball too.
I was
Oh, remind me of that.
extra chunk Campbell's.
Keep talking, but remind me to tell a baseball story.
I mean, I used to play on two different teams at one point, and one of them was with kids who were in their like first and second year into kid pitch, whereas my school league was still on machine pitch.
Oh, wow.
And so I would literally go from one game to another some days. Like some Saturdays, I would go from one game to another. And one would be machine pitch with my church league, and the other would be full-blown kid pitch with this select team who I think my coach was like a ex-minor leaguer. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and I loved it. It was amazing. I just got really fat and I got really lazy. And so
Yeah.
I ended up quitting. And I remember my dad said, "You will regret this," because he got so pissed. And I got pissed at him for being pissed at me because I wanted to be done.
Yeah.
But looking
Do you
back
regret
on
it?
for the longest time, it was the biggest thing I regretted.
Yeah.
Because I just kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier. I'm like 90% sure I probably developed type 2 diabetes. Thankfully, by God's grace, I ended up, kind of reverting that. But,
Which is possible.
especially when I first lost the weight, I was actually about to try out for baseball again
Oh, wow.
in college. Thankfully, the head coach sat me down and he was like, "I admire your gusto, and I'm not going to, I would never tell a kid no. You come out, you try out. But I want you to understand and know what you're coming up against." Because he goes, "The last time you played baseball was in 7th grade, 8th grade."
Yeah.
He goes, "I've got kids coming here who have been playing select baseball since 3 years old, and they have been nonstop. And now they're coming into college."
Yeah.
So they play for their
Yeah.
school and then play select fall, winter ball.
Just a constant.
He was like, "These kids got way more experience, but I will be the last person to tell you no." But because of that, I was like, "You know what? I appreciate your candor. I appreciate you being honest with me and
Sure.
telling me that." And
Sure.
I ended up not trying out.
Yeah.
But I did for the longest time. I did regret it. And I understood what my dad meant. I thought.
Yeah.
And then there was one day I thought about it from my dad's perspective. One of the biggest things that it was the biggest thing in which my dad and I did something together besides play golf on the occasion
Yeah.
was he would come to my baseball games. And now I kind of took that away from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I took away that time in bonding. I took that time away in which I guarantee you for him, he forgot about the world's issues. He forgot about his issues. That he forgot about his stresses in life. And yet he could come and watch his kid play baseball, the sport in which both he and me loved. And that really kind of honestly, that was kind of one of the first things I thought about when I started trying to think about things from my dad's perspective or from other people's perspective. And now it's one of the things I really try and do as much as I possibly can, as much as I coherently can try to put myself in other people's shoes first before saying or doing anything. Because especially if I just try to think about it, not necessarily from my dad. I know my dad because I've been living with him, and he raised me. But even other people's, I just try and think about it from like a father's perspective, or an uncle's perspective, or from a teacher's perspective. If I was a teacher,
Someone who helps raise you. Yeah.
but that was. It was a mixture of that, and I always looked up to my older brother Tim's approval. Because he was the guy to me. Especially one day, and I've told this story before, I was at his baseball, it was like end of season party for his team. And I was hanging around him and his friends, and one of his friends took like the big 3-foot long bubble gum rope and whipped me across the back.
Oh, nice.
So hard that like my back welted up.
Yeah. Those things are nasty.
And I was crying, I was screaming because it hurt, and I'm a bitch. And I literally look up and I see my brother standing over this kid beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And
Is that Tim?
Yeah, yeah. And so
We gotta get him back on again.
There was one story, and this is way after that. I never really got much into trouble as a kid. My parents did something to me as a young kid to where I was very much afraid of being in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was when my mom punched me with her diamond stud in the shoulder and left a welt. I don't know if it was when I had long hair. My dad used to pick me up by my hair and go, "Listen here, you little shit." Probably a mixture of both. But I ended up getting...
paint your parents in a brighter light here, bud.
I love my parents. I love my parents. They're the reason why I am the way that I am. They're a part. They are not the sole reason.
Yeah.
They're a part. But
Parts of one whole.
I was at school in, I think... Oh, no, this was 5th grade because my brother Tim was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And we went to the same grade school. And so at that time, I was doing piano, and I was doing piano recitals. And so we had a big school piano recital literally that Sunday. And that Monday, this was around Christmas time, we would do like a Christmas chapel service because I went to a Lutheran school. So we did a chapel service on the Nativity of Christ.
Nice.
To where all the kids would act out a part, and the kids would have speaking parts or acting parts or whatever the case may be. So that Monday during school, we were practicing all of our parts as a school in the church. The piano recital happened to be at the front of the church too. So that night, my mom brought numerous trays of cookies, and so there was a bunch of cookies left over from the piano recital. And so on Monday, when we were moving around the church, trying to like sneak around the church to get to our part to where the people who were sitting in the actual church wouldn't see us moving around.
Right.
So we would go like underneath into the basement and come back up on the left side from the right, and so on and so forth. And so one of the ways we took was through the kitchen that was underneath the church. And I saw all those cookies sitting there. I shit you not, I took the cookies from the platter that my mom bought, and I got suspended. And so I'm flabbergasted because I end up coming in the office, and the principal is like, "Why would you do such a thing? And what would make you think of that? That's okay?" And I go, "'Cause my mom bought them." And so I'm sitting in the principal's office getting grilled, and outside the principal's office was like the secretary's office.
Right.
And my brother Tim comes in because he was sent to the office at the same time for something else. And so I end up walking out. I see him. We both smile at each other, and I walk out, and Tim goes into our principal's office and goes, "Hey, that was my brother Dan."
This is my brother.
Hey, he was in here. I ended up having to serve an in-school suspension, I think, for 2 days. They were talking about having me shovel snow, and I went, no.
Dude, I remember I went to Vianney, and for only a couple years, but I remember I wasn't a trouble kid in high school. In middle school, I was the problem. Just because I was always a weird kid, and I got made fun of a lot, and so it would be like I would just stand up for myself, but the teachers would only see me standing up for myself and see that as a ruckus rather than see the people who made, I'll never forget this. Right, I'll never forget this to the day I die. Like
Can you pass me the coffee?
Yeah. there was a like literally I was surrounded by a group of kids who were making fun of me all at the same time in the hallway. And I turned to one of them and I go, "Why do you do this?" And she looked me dead in the eye and she goes, "Because you were born." And I was like, "Wow. All right then."
Sounds like our night on Siege.
Because you were born. But anyway, back to the baseball stories. Yeah, I was a pitcher and outfield because I had a hell of an arm. And the angrier I got, the better I pitched because it would force me to focus. And so there was this one I'll never forget. My dad would pace behind the backdrop or the backstop, just pace back and forth watching me. Always encourage me. "All right, son, good one. Oh, it's a ball. Don't worry about it." Like he would always talk and talk and talk and.
Your dad sounds a lot nicer than mine.
Well, but then there was this one moment. So do you remember those balls on like it was like a baseball, but it was on the end of like this flimsy stick.
Yeah.
And so you would bring it in, and then you could hit it, and it could like somebody
Yeah.
holding it.
Yeah.
You would hit it, and then come back, and then you'd come in again to practice like eye coordination or whatever. Well, some kid decided that it was a good time to do that while I was pitching. And so this kid's off to the side playing with this thing, and then a bird flew overhead right at the moment where he cracked that ball. And so I thought like a ball was coming. So I'm sitting like set, and I went like this. I thought, and they called a balk.
Yep.
And so my dad loses his mind. He goes, "Come on up! Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, just lost his shit. He was like, "It was a bird, damn it! Come on!" He thought it was a ball. There's kids, but just let the kids play. Let them play. It's like, dude. So in front of all these parents, the ump was like, "I'll throw you." And he's like, "Oh, shit, I don't give a shit. Like, I'll tell you to leave the field or whatever, you know."
Well, that was so. My dad actually was called on a couple occasions to leave the field,
I'm not
and it was at
surprised.
my brother Tim's soccer game. One of them, the most infamous one. So this apparently, according to my brother and my dad, this ref was making horrible calls and calling it on my brother's team. Now, granted, this is a story, maybe a little biased, but the ref apparently was making some bad calls. And finally, this is like, there's maybe like 10 minutes left of the game. And my dad, as the ref is walking by, goes, hey, ref. And he goes, "What do you want, sir?" And he goes, "I got a contact in, some eyewear. I've got a good guy. He's really knows what he's doing. He can help you with that eyesight of yours because your calls are shit." And the ref goes, "You want enough? Out of here." And he goes, "Good. Maybe I'll be able to fucking stomach the rest of my day." Goes into the parking lot and is like drinking a beer with one other guy who ended up getting tossed with him. And the ref saw him in the parking lot and he goes, "No, you got to get out of here." And he goes, "You come up here and fucking make me, bitch."
Dude, so professionally, Mike and I are kind of dealing in the same thing. So the roofing industry,
Commission-based
but I
sales.
do, yes, commission-based sales, but I'm talking about insurance companies. And I'm actually doing your dad's project just got finished, like his house and his gutters and stuff. But we were talking one day because his insurance company, so USAA is the best insurance company in the nation, hands down. But
They are not a sponsor.
they're not a sponsor. Just if you want to, go ahead. But best insurance company in the nation, just because they take care of their people and they're not owned by one person or a corporation. They're owned by people and veterans. But anyway, we were talking about insurance one day, and your dad's a super professional guy. But I was in your house, and he was doing paperwork and stuff, and we were talking insurance a little bit. And I was like, dude, I'm so sick and tired of like my commission being based off of insurance. If insurance companies want to actually do what they're supposed to do, which is pay their customers when things go wrong, and they don't want to do that, especially in where we live with all the hailstorms in the last couple of years. Insurance companies have lost billions.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to pay out anymore, even though it's their responsibility to do so.
Right.
And your dad was like, I'll tell you what. And he literally, he took off his glasses because he's sitting there at the computer, took off his glasses, pushed his laptop aside. And it legitimately looked like one of those moments where he was just going to give me the utmost wisdom. Just like, I'm going to lay something down for you, buddy. And you're going to hear it, and it's going to change your life. And he looked at me and he goes, Adam, let me tell you something. Insurance companies fucking suck. I was like, really? Tell me more. He was like, no, that's it. Like, they don't give a shit about people.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I grew up from.
Dude, how cool would it be to have... Do you think your dad would want to do a podcast?
No.
No?
I think I've asked him once, and he was like, no.
Yeah. We need to get my dad on again. Just talk about professionalism and... Because that's something else that I learned from him is like... When I was a kid, I always used to say yes, sir, as like this, I'm going to salute you and be a dick. But like, now I say that to anyone.
Well,
not women, but...
It's a former... Yes, sir. I've said that before.
Yeah,
I've
made that snafu.
Yes, sir. Shit.
But he taught me that. He taught me the value of respect for authority and just the need for the respect of authority. Because a lot of people are just like, oh, it's just my boss. Well, it's the person that signs your paycheck. I know you may not agree with what they say all the time or what they do, but it's still the person who gave you a freaking job.
And still allows you to come in.
Right.
But, I mean, that's also one of the commandments. Like, honor your father and mother is... I had a buddy's dad of mine who's extremely traditionally Catholic. He was like, a lot of people don't understand that honor your father and mother actually also goes down to your boss and whoever's in an authority figure over you. Because that's essentially what that commandment means, is honor the authority that you have been placed under.
Right.
Whether it be it's your church plus honor your parents. You honor your boss. You honor any coworkers that happen to have a higher ranking than you.
Right.
Even if you disagree, and that's where it's on them being a leader to be able to allow you the opportunity to voice your concerns about things.
Yeah.
While also still maintaining that authority, in which they don't just pass your opinions and your criticisms off as they don't understand. Instead, they actually take it to heart and they use that as part of their... Because it takes a village,
sure,
whether to run a business, to run a family, to do anything really. And so, if they're not a good leader, you still got to follow them. But yeah, that was just
respect for authority. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last third of the cigar. The cocoa nibs that he mentioned in the letter really come like there's.
I don't know what a cocoa nib is.
Just like chocolate morsel.
Nope.
Like bar of chocolate.
Yeah.
But like fancy chocolate where it's like 72% cacao or whatever. Cacao. But that's really coming through. Very chocolatey. Which is crazy.
From a light.
It went from light bread to chocolate.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, this is a wonderful cigar.
Yeah. Yeah. The honestly, highly recommend it with a Guinness. Because the vanilla and chocolate go really well.
This was an awesome pairing. Now,
Vanilla,
I will say,
caramel.
For beer, if you're trying to pair a beer with a cigar,
It's difficult.
You are better if you do like a stout or a porter, something that's got a little bit more flavor than just kind of like a watered down.
Yeah, I wouldn't do like a Mick Ultra with a cigar.
You can if you want something light.
Yeah.
But the pairing isn't going to be the best. If you're actually trying to pair a beer with a cigar and actually like allow them to intertwine together in a good way,
Yeah.
the occasional IPA, but it depends on what it is, and then definitely a stout or a porter because they're richer. They can usually handle more of those more Maduro wrappers and
Yeah.
But yeah, this honestly holds up, which is unbelievable.
Yeah. It's a really nice smoke. Really nice smoke. All right, one more story that you can think of that's one of your favorites from your dad. I'll go first, just because there's one at the top of my head.
Okay.
So my dad has a very unique signature, but I learned to replicate it when I was a kid. And I always rode the bus to and from school and everything. And one day I was like, I want to be a part of the kids that get to walk home. Like I want to walk home. It's like a 10-minute walk from my school to my house. So I just want to do it. But you got to bring a letter from a parent, and I had forgotten that day. And so what I was going to do, I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I was going to like open up a piece of paper with my dad's signature on it and be like, "Oh, I brought the wrong paper. I forgot." Because the teacher was always like, which this teacher hated me. I know it's a running theme, but she really didn't like me. She was the gym teacher and just not a nice person. Anyway, so she was like, "All right, show me the note." And so I pulled it out, and there's a blank piece of paper with my dad's signature on it. And she goes, "What?" And I go, "I forgot the wrong letter." She goes, "Bullshit." So she dragged me to the office, and she was like, she called my dad, and she was like, we need you to come get your son because he, forged your signature or whatever. And he was like, "That's ridiculous." So he comes up to the office, and we're sitting there, and he goes, "Show me the paper." And he pulled it open, and he was like, "Holy shit, that's my signature." He was like, "That's really good." I was like, "Yeah, I got pretty good at it."
One more story. Can't really. So this is more of a deeper story than like this is just something that really touched me. Because obviously I know in my mind and in my heart my dad loves me.
Yeah.
But as a kid, speaking from a kid's perspective, I don't even know if I understood how important it is for parents to tell their kids that they're proud of them when they do something well.
Yeah. I'm there with you. Yeah.
So this was at my grandpa's wake last year. And we were there for a couple hours already. And all of a sudden, some of my dad's friends from college come walking in, like some of his fraternity brothers come walking in. And in fact, they even went like as far back as like high school. They went to Kirkwood High together, and then went to Mizzou together. And so they're standing there, they're talking, and I've kind of made my rounds. There's a lot of people who I've already talked to. People have come and left, and so I come walking up to my dad, who's talking to these guys I've never seen before, who are around his age, and I come walking up. And each person I look, it's just something I try to do to every single person is look in their eye, say my name, shake their hand, give them as firm as a handshake as I can with two gimp wrists.
Sure.
But just be respectful to them in their time, and not only their time, but their presence.
Right.
And so I come up, each person, there's like 4 of them. Standing around with my dad, and I come introduce myself to each person personally, shake their hand, look at their eyes, say, "It's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming."
Yeah.
And I talked with them for maybe about 6-7 minutes, had them laughing hard, like
Yeah.
guttural laughing. And then I saw someone else come in, and I said, "It was great to meet you guys." Actually, it was either that or I had to go to work, but I ended up walking away. And apparently, my dad came to me after the wake was over, and he came to me crying, gave me a big hug, and said, "I'm so proud of you." He goes, "The fact that you came up, introduced yourself to my friends, personally, individually, shook their hands, and then spent time to talk with them and just made them feel welcome. And I'm his kid, like I'm his son, and I went up and I did that." He was like, I'm so proud of the man you've become."
Wow.
And I think partly why it hit me is like us Keithleys, we don't like talking about emotionally vulnerable things.
Yep.
Just because, especially if it's emotionally vulnerable. A belief that me and my family have is we don't want to bother somebody else with something that's ours. Like we don't want to burden somebody else. And so, like, if we have a problem, a lot of times, we'll seek for answers or possible answers to our problem, at least something to get us going in the right direction, without at least allowing other people to bear our burden because we feel like it's ours. Like, God gave us this burden.
Yeah.
It's ours to bear. And so for my dad to kind of show that. Now, granted, he was in a very emotionally vulnerable state.
Oh, sure.
Just lost his dad. And fairly suddenly, too. Yeah, it was the exact same as when we sat on this patio and, Tim looked over and said, "Dan, you've been one of my best friends for," like, never heard my brother say that. I always knew he loved me because he would look at me and go, "What's up, fucker?" Like, that was just the way of our love. That was the way of our relationship. So I always knew he had my back, but for him to actually, like, go deep and say that's where I would say, especially with looking at my roots and being in a family that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, it's more so look at my actions.
Yeah.
Because this is something this is the biggest thing my dad ingrained to us is family is everything.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how bad we hurt each other. Doesn't matter how bad. You always stick up and you always stand by your family because they're your family. Friends come and go. Acquaintances come and go more often. Jobs will come and go, but family is supposed to be forever.
Yeah.
And so for my family to actually, like, whenever my family does kind of emotionally open up and kind of like, we're proud of you.
Yeah.
You've done well. Like, it's huge. And that's where I would say all families should, whether you have kids, whether your kids have kids, or whether you don't have kids and you're like me, in which possibly waiting, be able to actually have those moments in which you are able to tell those people in your life that not just that you love them, but especially if they do something really well, tell them you're proud of them. Because I think, there's a quote that Jordan Peterson talks about, there's not very many people in this world who have ever really heard those words, "I'm proud of you," from someone that they actually care about.
Right.
It's one thing if some random person goes, "Oh, I'm proud of you. You did really good." Like if it's your boss or, but for someone very close to you to go, "I'm proud of you. You did amazing." And for someone to actually be excited for something you're excited about, I mean, it's something so small, yet has such a profound impact on other people's emotional state, psyche, self-belief.
Yep. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great story. All right. Let's do this. We have... There you go. Just do that. Ooh. Whoa. Oh, I was wrong. I was very wrong. So these cigars are the Paper Crane from the Blackworks Studio. I was wrong.
Wow.
Wow. That's a fantastic cigar.
Yeah, this is very good. And honestly, the complexity of it kind of reminded me of a Privado.
Yeah. Very, very, very good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, live at Billy G's, 2 years in. Glad you're sticking with us. Thanks for joining us at the table. We'll see you next time.
I'm Dan.
Just leave it at that.